Welcome back to The Count. We're counting down the major stories of the week. I'm Lydia Serrani. Now to story number 8 on our countdown. Sleeper cell threat. Following last weekend's successful Operation Midnight Hammer, ICE agents arresting 11 Iranian nationals. There they are, who were here in the United States, illegally, of course. One of the Iranian illegals, he's even on a terror watch list. Thanks, Joe Biden. Another allegedly served as a sniper for the Iranian armed forces. Five of them possessed criminal convictions. These arrests come as there is now an increasing threat of sleeper cells in the United States that now may be activated because we're seeing tensions rising in the Middle East. For more on this, let's bring in former acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf. Also with us, former ICE and Border Patrol Chief Ron Vitello. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Ron, you first. Clearly, the danger is there. The threat is there. Joe Biden or the auto pen, whoever the heck it was, allowed 20 million that we know of, that we think, right? That's an estimate. Illegal, people that unvetted into this country. So God only knows what could be here, lying in wait, waiting to strike.
Yeah, it's a good point. This threat exists. All of us must be more vigilant. We know that the front line, both at CBP, DHS, and our state and local partners, are understanding this threat, both from within the cyber community and as well as, boots on the ground law enforcement. And let's not forget, Los Angeles is putting us all at risk, because if those 11 individuals were arrested locally, and some of them have criminal convictions, so they were arrested in Los Angeles and sent back to the street instead of into the hands of ICE so they could be put on a path for removal. So the watchword here is to be vigilant, to see something, say something. It really means something here. But the front line has got this as their priority number one, and they're out there taking care of business.
Yeah, and the fact that you've had Democrats are saying we want to unmask these ICE agents and they're being doxxed, their families, their lives are being threatened here. Secretary Wolf, President Trump this week, he ripped his predecessor again for those open borders that allowed these potential terrorists into this country. We don't know who they are, if they're good people or not. Take a listen to what he said here.
Everything else, he let a lot of supercells in, many from Iran. But hopefully we'll take care of them. What Biden did to this country should never be forgotten.
And now we know, because these 11 guys, they were illegal aliens. So why do you think, sir, that you have so many people against President Trump trying to secure this nation? You literally have people protesting in the streets about this.
Well, again, I think the lawmakers that are against this were the same ones that were for President Biden and what he did over those 4 years. And President Trump is exactly right. The consequences of having that border open for 4 years, to having over 400 known or suspected terrorists come through, Iranians, Chinese nationals, cartel members, human traffickers, and others, we will be dealing with the consequences of that for years to come. And so the president is right to continue to remind the American people that because of inadequate policies, the wrong policies for 4 years, President Trump and his team are now having to deal with that. And then when you have an incident like we see overseas with Iran and Israel and the like, that obviously magnifies who's in the country and who is here to do Americans harm each and every day. And it's hard to anticipate who that is, because the numbers that you cited are the ones that we know came across, right? There's also gotaways, individuals that we don't know exactly who came across and where they are at. So those individuals are also concerning. And so I think what it tells you is that you need to understand who's coming into your country. You need to understand and vet them. And when you have an open borders for 4 years, it's not going to work, and the American people know that.
And also, Ron, Attorney General Pam Bondi, she was on Capitol Hill this week stating that the government also remains on high alert. Again, we're talking about these illegal aliens that seem to be, everywhere in every single community. Take a listen.
Well over 1,000 have entered. Yes, I don't know if it's quite up to 1,500, but yes, it's well over 1,000 have entered our country. And I can tell you we are on high alert, and everyone is looking at that very closely.
Ron, this is not an easy task for law enforcement.
It's not, especially in these jurisdictions where you have, sanctuary for those that will actually get arrested and do things in those jurisdictions. And then you mentioned the ICE agents. They're out there with Border Patrol. CBP is helping in the mission, both in Los Angeles and across the country. And Iranians are on the top of the list, those that are here illegally. And those men and women are going to keep their identities safe. because their families deserve the privacy and security that all of us have. They're out there. They took an oath to protect us. They don't need to be demonized by folks in the House that think they're doing something illegal or calling what they're doing kidnapping. They're out there doing a job that of enforcing laws that are on the books today. And those politicians that want to demonize them should look in the mirror, because they're the ones that are responsible for funding the activities that are going on right now. And all those activities are designed to keep us safe.
Secretary, what do you think should happen to these Democrat leaders that are openly saying that they are not going to cooperate with the federal authorities? I mean, you have the leading contender for the New York City mayor, who is a loud and proud socialist. Some say he's a communist, saying that if he becomes mayor, that he will direct the police department not to cooperate. He will not allow federal authorities to come into New York City. What do you think should happen to these people?
Well, I think the Trump administration is taking a hard look at them, and for those that are actively obstructing ICE law enforcement officers, I'm sure the Trump administration will take the corrective action along with the Department of Justice. So we see that in a couple of instances already. Look, when individuals like, that mayoral candidate, they say a lot of different things. The question is, what is he actually going to do should he get into office? And I think that's where the Trump team's going to take a hard look, because if he's telling law enforcement not to cooperate, to release dangerous individuals back into New York City, back into local communities, the Trump team is going to pay attention to that, and they're going to take some action. It's probably going to start with the Department of Justice.
All right, we have to leave it right there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.